to welcome back everyone to our fifth hashtag Hire Me 2022 guest panel speaker series hosted by BCJobs.ca. My name's Chelsea. As you can see in my picture here, I'll be your BC Jobs host for today's panel. So a bit about BC Jobs and what we do. So this spring, we are hosting our panel series every 3 weeks. And we usually have three special guest speakers from various sectors join us for a Q&A, a live Q&A on what's new with their organizations and to talk a bit about the job market and hiring in BC. So as you may know, BC Jobs is Western Canada's biggest online jobs board. And in addition to this guest speaker series, we also offer annual career fairs. Our next one will hopefully be later in the spring, maybe early summer. You can also check out our Innovators podcast to hear more about what industry leaders are saying. So before we get started here today, I want to encourage you, the audience, to type your questions for the panel speakers into the chat box at any point, and we will get to your questions during the audience Q&A period. So right after we have a little bit of a Q&A with BC Jobs and our guest panelists, we will also offer another little event called our pitch event. So in this pitch event, you can nominate yourself, and I'll give you more instructions later on, but you can nominate yourself in the chat, give us your name, location, area of expertise, and years of experience. And then I'll pick the first three people to give a 30-second pitch on themselves to our panelists. And we do have a prize. So the person with the best pitch will receive a 30-minute resume consultation with BC Jobs. So I'll give more details on that as we get to that. And then after our pitch event, we'll have our live audience Q&A with our guest panelists. Okay, so let's get some introductions going here. I'm going to pass the virtual mic over to Maria Lopez McDonald, recruiter at Interior Health. Maria, welcome to our panel today. It's great to have you with us, and please tell us a little bit about yourself.
Thank you so much for inviting me, and welcome everyone. My name is Maria, and I am a recruiter with Interior Health. If you don't know much about Interior Health, we're one of the 7 health authorities in BC. It's, as the name says, in the interior. And we have over 23,000 employees. We hire constantly for many jobs, not just for nurses or doctors. We have careers in IT, we have careers as administrative, we have careers in accounting. So I invite you all to check our careers website at jobs.interiorhealth.ca or send me any questions that you have. And I welcome you here, and hopefully you'll have lots of questions for me.
Perfect. Thanks for that wonderful introduction, Maria. All right. Next up, we've got Justin Laufer, Senior Director of Operations at Carbon60. Justin, thanks for joining us today. And please tell us a bit about yourself.
Hey, so yeah, you covered the most important part. My name is, Justin, Senior Director of Ops with, Carbon60. I have a team of about 30 people and always, growing. We take care of the ongoing, management and support for Carbon60's, customer base for our hosted infrastructure, solutions across, Canada. So although I'm based here in the Metro Vancouver area, I have people reporting to me as far as New Brunswick and Nova Scotia, and even across the ocean in Eastern Europe. So we have a very large footprint that's always growing. And while I might be tech focused, Carbon60 as well is always looking for talent in finance and accounting, sales, and through our new acquisition here in the Vancouver area, Ops Guru, there's also a lot of opportunities for solutions architecture and some cutting edge stuff like machine learning. So stay tuned. You'll hear more about that later.
Cool. That's really great to know, Justin. Thanks. All right. And last but not least, I'd like to introduce Tina Hashimia, Chief of Staff at Social Nature. Tina, it's great to have you on the panel. And please tell us a bit about yourself.
Thanks, Chelsea. Yeah, hi everyone. It's so great to be here. So as Chelsea said, I'm the chief of staff at Social Nature. That's a new title though. So I started off with them about a year and a half ago as their people operations manager. So the hiring for the company was basically going through me and then the hiring managers from each team. So in this last year, we grew from about 12 to now we're almost 40 people. So it's been a lot of hiring this last year and a half. And I think, we kind of represent a little bit of like the small tech industry here. So very in tune with what's going on in that industry. And so, yeah, we're also always growing. We're also always hiring. And so we're usually looking for people in engineering, product, marketing, sales, and CS. So that's really typically what we're looking for. And yeah, I'm really excited to be here and talk a lot about, the importance of course, technical fit, but also a little bit more about cultural fit, both for from the candidate's experience as well as from the company's perspective. So yeah, happy to be here.
Oh, it's great to have you here, Tina, and thanks for sharing. Now that we know our panelists a little bit better, I've got a few of my own questions that I'm going to start us off with before we move over to the pitch event and our audience Q&A. So these next questions are geared more towards what's new at your companies for 2022, but I've also thrown in a couple questions under the theme of well-being. So I'll start off with Tina. So Social Nature has 800,000 members and is growing. What are some exciting projects, initiatives, opportunities coming out this year?
Yeah, I love that question because I mean, I could talk about it for days. But first of all, yes, we're growing. We're growing at a very rapid pace right now. It seems like over the pandemic, we actually found a really great product market fit. We are now the leading online digital solution for sampling. And so because of that, we found a great product fit. We are now trying to scale our revenue growth and our team growth. So really the priorities for us this year is reaching out to as many clients as possible. And then also scaling up our team. So we're finding the right fit in terms of finding, the right people to work with us. And then other exciting projects and initiatives is that we're really trying to get certified as a B Corp this year. So that's another huge, something that really resonates with us and our mission. So that's become a huge project in of itself. But yeah, I think so. We do have our hands full with those three big ones. So like scaling growth, revenue wise, scaling our team, and B Corp. Those are the three main things we're working on. But of course, beyond that, there's a lot of like product features we're always working on. Listening to both our community and our clients to make sure that we're figuring out what works best for them. But yeah, those are all the things.
Wow, that's very exciting. You've got a lot of things in the pipeline for this year. That's great. Mm-hmm. My next question here is for Justin. So in 2021, Carbon60 was placed at 141 on the Globe and Mail's list of Canada's top growing companies. Tell us a bit more about your company growth and what this means for Carbon60.
Well, for me personally, it means I drink way more coffee than should be considered healthy or sane for any human being. Carbon60, so, we've always been in the infrastructure and, the managed cloud space. And when COVID hit, that took off as a area that a lot of companies were, looking at. All of a sudden, any plans for clouds or infrastructure or anything IT and compute, related just got shifted into overdrive as the entire workforce literally overnight just changed how it worked. So what this has meant for Carbon60 has just been stratospheric levels of growth and change within the organization that's made it very dynamic and changing every day. And just it's created a lot of opportunity for us in terms of the type of work that we do, but also how we develop our people internally. There's been a lot of opportunity for people with us to redefine their roles and their places within the company and to really show what they're capable of. It's sort of given people a platform for growth that was always there, but is now just in turbo mode. And it's been really exciting to see what some of my colleagues come up with, or the impact that they're able to have with us. So yeah, it's all just really been about taking what was already a growth focused company, but also adding a new dynamic layer to that growth for us internally.
Amazing. That's awesome. That's great to know. All right. My next question is over to Maria here. Interior Health has over 7,000 employees. What is 2022 looking like for Interior Health?
It's looking even better. Like we have, yeah, we have so many opportunities. We have 3,000 postings posted in our careers website.
Oh, wow.
So yeah, so it's really growing. And Justin said what I wanted to say actually, because the pandemic opened a lot of doors and opportunities for people to develop new skill, expand into other areas. So there's a lot of movement within the internal employees. I've seen people growing and into their careers, and I think that's one of the things that we offer. Our careers website indicates room to grow, and that's for a reason. It is because we give people the room to grow in their careers to get where they want to be when they grow up.
Wonderful. That's great to hear. 3,000 postings. Wow.
Mm.
That's a lot.
Yeah.
Are you hiring mostly is it mostly Kelowna, or is it just all over the
all over? We have we're divided into 4 geographical locations, and it's the East Kootenay boundary, Thompson, Caribou, Shuswap, and Okanagan. So we have jobs all over those areas.
Wow, great. That's really great to know. All right, I've got another question here for Tina. So well-being seems very important to social nature, from the products that you represent to the company culture. Can you tell us a bit more about how you take care of the well-being of your employees?
Yes, that's actually my favorite topic. That's a lot of what I spend my time on. So for us, well-being and development and growth are really top of mind when we hire anyone into the team, because that's really our ethos around, our own growth and development. So what that looks like is, when people onboard with us, first of all, we have a full, what we call a job success profile. So they come in and we really outline to them, like, this is what we think, your job should be, but this is really a co-creation document, so that over time, people can come in and say, actually, I think I want to start leaning into this area of my role a little bit more. And so we, over time, co-create with them to really grow them into the professional area that they want to be growing into. So the job success profile is huge. We also have very outlined one-on-one documents with everyone. We have, bi-weekly growth and development sessions that each manager has with their team members. Once a month, we actually host learning and development sessions for the entire team. So we'll get maybe an industry speaker to come and speak for us. We'll have maybe like a mindfulness coach, or perhaps actually recently we just had a nutritionist to come in and talk to our team. So one of our commitments to the team is that once a month we will have a learning and development session, and it can range from any topic. One time we had someone come in and talk about stock options, which was really interesting. And then beyond that, we also once a month also have a team social. So that can either happen virtually, because we are a remote friendly team as well. And then at times organically, sometimes we'll have some in-person team events in Vancouver, BC. So really, we do want to make sure that everyone's taken care of. And that's, aside from all the benefits that we offer. So we offer pretty, competitive benefits. We have like a wellness spending account for each team member, comprehensive vacation packages. And one of the cooler ones is actually during the week of the holidays, between like the 24th to the 1st of January, we actually call it our flex week. And that's the time that, it's not really like, you don't have to take a vacation to take time off then. It's just, we kind of say it's like an 80-20 rule. 80% take care of yourselves, be with your family. 20%, if you're checking up on Slack and making sure that your clients are taken care of, great. But yeah, I think from all ways, we do really try to look at like the human experience at work, and we try to survey our team as much as possible. And so there's a lot of work that we do put into making sure the team is really taken care of from a team perspective, individual perspective, and making sure that people are showing up to work feeling fulfilled, productive, and that they can really, take on the day. Yeah.
Amazing. I love that idea of you called it a flex week.
A flex week.
A
Yeah.
flex week. That sounds really cool. And I also like the idea of having monthly guest speakers come and
Yes.
talk. That sounds amazing as well. What a great initiative.
Mm-hmm.
Cool. All right. My next question here is for Justin. What does our theme of well-being mean to the company culture at Carbon60?
Something that's become much more important over the last 2 years.
Mhm.
We've always been a remote-friendly company, and we transitioned to a remote-first company. It might seem like a small, distinction there, but when you take the scope of someone's environment and change it from I work in the city to like in my case right now, I work in my house. I
Mhm.
roll out of bed, shower, make a cup of coffee, walk down the stairs and go right into my office, sit down, and I'm probably not going to move for about at least 8 hours straight. And it's very easy to get into that rut, especially these days. What well-being has really meant to the company culture, especially as of late, is working with our people to understand that they still have to come first, and their well-being and sense of place, sense of worth, and overall mental health is still one of the most important things to us. We've taken a look at our corporate benefits and seen what additional tools we can offer our people to help them focus on their mental health and well-being, and very much encourage people to take advantage of that. And it's been good for me, especially over the course of the pandemic. I took these values to heart and said I'm going to set the example. And I was diagnosed with ADHD, which frankly explains a lot from the last 20 years of my life. But I've been very vocal on sharing that journey with my team. More so than I typically would about my medical status and history, and that's been to encourage them that they should take advantage of the tools and resources that are available with them, and to take away some of the stigma and fear about that mental self-care. So that's really been what well-being has been for us over the course of the last 2 years.
I really applaud you, as you said, for setting an example to your staff. That's it's so important. Like you setting the standard for talking about mental health. It's so important. And thank you for sharing that. Okay, my last question here is for Maria. Interior Health is renowned for its excellent care of patients. What are some of the reasons employees love working for Interior Health?
It's the people, the people that makes the difference. We have great teamwork, very solid. When you join Interior Health, we provide an extensive orientation, not only for like the whole Interior Health, but for the specific unit that you're going to work. We have very supportive managers that love when new people join their teams. We have amazing benefits and paid vacation, paid sick leave, employee family assistance programs. So I think that from the recruitment perspective, I follow up with the new hires that I have, and all of them say like, from 30 days, after 60 days, I follow up, and they all say that they're very happy with their jobs. They're very happy with the orientation they receive. They're very happy with the positions they're at. They love what they do, and most of all, they love the people they work with.
Amazing. That's so wonderful to hear. So thank you, Maria, Justin, and Tina, for answering all of my questions. It's great to know more about your organizations and the exciting things going on for you all this year, and to know a bit more about yourselves as well. So next, before we dive into the questions from the audience, I'm going to draw 3 names and invite each person to give a 30-second pitch about themselves. So as I mentioned before, this is our pitch event. The person with the best pitch will receive an email from me later with an invitation to a 30-minute resume consultation with BC Jobs. So to nominate yourself for this pitch event, in the chat box, you can type your name, you can type your location, area of expertise, and years of experience. So I'll type this here into the chat. So while people are thinking about nominating yourself, I highly recommend doing this because you're going to be going for interviews soon as you apply for jobs, and it just helps build your confidence speaking in front of a group of people. So all right, we already have Amico nominating themselves. Excellent. I'm just going to put the instructions in here. So pitch events. All right, so I'll just need your name, location, area of expertise. Make sure I spelled this correctly. And years of experience. Okay, so I just put a little bit of the instructions in here. So to nominate yourself, just type in the chat your name, location, area of expertise, and years of experience. And I'll just pick the first 3 people. And all you'll be doing is giving a 30-second pitch about yourselves. You can talk about, if you're a student, you can talk about, your studies and any work experience that you may have. If you're already an industry professional and you're looking to change careers, you can tell us a bit about your background and your experience. And if you're new to the job market, you can talk about any relevant experience you have, or maybe some of your interests of what you're looking to get into. All right, so we've got, oh wow, we've got several people, several brave souls today nominating themselves. Excellent. Okay, so I'm going to invite Amico to come on screen. You can pop on your camera and unmute yourself. And yeah, let's hear your pitch for our panelists today.
Hello, everyone. Thanks for hosting
Hello.
such an amazing event.
Oh,
My name's
great.
Miko, and I'm a kinesiologist in my 7th year of practice. I hold a Bachelor of Human Kinetics from UBC Okanagan, where I completed their clinical exercise science and health promotion programs over several years. I've also completed 3 years of studies in English and creative writing at Thompson Rivers University, which has helped to develop my empathy, value the perspective of others, and my communication skills. I have a wide area of practice. Right now I'm working in private practice, but I would love to work for Interior Health one day. And I really enjoy working to help patients who have mental health struggles to learn to do some exercise to support them, as well as the geriatric population. Yeah.
Very cool. I don't know, maybe Maria might have a follow-up question for you.
Yeah, I will leave my email address and maybe we can connect separately after. And
okay, that sounds great.
Yeah, and then I can give you a little bit more advice, that would apply to you.
Thank you.
Awesome. I got my follow-up question would be just to clarify what would be your ideal role within kinesiology?
For sure. Well, actually, the reason I came on this call today was because I realized that I needed to practice pitching myself because I had I had an interview recently and I just got so nervous that I did terrible. So I thought I should come on and practice because otherwise, yeah, you can't get better unless you practice.
It's so true. And I applaud you for coming on and pitching yourself today. It's not an easy thing to do. And it's, public speaking is a skill that just needs practice. The more you do it, the more comfortable you feel, and those nerves just kind of melt away. So all it is practice. So well done.
Thank
you for sharing.
You should pat yourself on the back. Yeah, that's amazing. Really good initiative.
All right. Our next pitch candidate is Justin. Justin, do you want to hop on screen and unmute yourself, and you can give your pitch to our panelists today?
Hello, good morning, everyone. My name is Justin Stockholm, and I'm currently studying biomedical mechanical engineering at Carleton University, far away from Vancouver or BC. So far, I've had job experience working at the Ottawa Hospital in a stem cell lab and developing my basic techniques. And then I also did a internship at Neurovine, which is a startup company which focuses on developing an EEG headband for patients recovering from concussion. And I worked with those patients, getting them through our study, as well as doing my own tests with things. And right now I'm looking for my next experience that I hope to like fall in love with and stay longer term. Thank you.
Very cool. Very interesting. Mechanical engineering. I guess I can go in like several different roles. Is there an ideal role that you're looking for, or?
I'm looking to get into the biomedical sector, hopefully, or
Okay.
environmental, and
Very
like in
cool.
research. Yeah.
In
Thank you.
research, okay.
Mhm.
I don't know if there's any positions at Interior Health. Yeah.
I was just going to say, I just closed and filled one position today for a student.
Oh,
So,
okay.
but having said that, I know that I will be posting a few more positions. So I encourage you to keep an eye on our careers website, jobs.interiorhealth.ca, because I know I will be posting another term for another student pretty soon.
Okay, I will definitely look. Thank you.
Thanks.
And great job, Justin.
Maria, I have a follow-up question for you, but for students who are applying, like what do you look for beyond like a technical fit?
It depends on the unit. To be quite honest, I have careers in IT. I have careers in human resources. I have careers in infection control. I have careers sometimes in the trades. It just depends on the unit and what the managers are looking for. I have right now one under environmental for wildfire. So depending, like we look for engineers, we look for environmentalists. Sometimes we look for research students or human resources, accounting. Yeah, just a big variety.
Wow, so the range is quite broad. Many different departments.
Yes. Yeah.
Very cool. All right, I'd like to invite up our last pitch candidate. And I hope I'm pronouncing this correctly, Aneni.
My name is Anene Mariam. Like I said, I'm a software engineer and have over 5 years experience in Microsoft technologies such as Azure, cloud services, .NET to be precise, and I will have experience in writing some enterprise applications, and both for CRMs and SMEs. So that's basically it. Hope to explore my experience beyond the shores of Africa and also collaborate with other tech startups. That's just my brief introduction. Yeah.
Oh, awesome. Well, thank you for sharing. I don't know if any of our panelists here today are hiring outside of Canada, but I can let them answer that question if they are hiring from outside. Not sure if Interior Health or Carbon60 or Social Nature is.
Yeah, I can definitely add some information around that. So typically we don't hire internationally, but we do when we work with third-party contractors who can essentially hire internationally for us, but then also help with the immigration. So we hire internationally when the candidate's intention is to eventually come to Canada. And so we work with organizations such as VanHack is one, and they specialize in sourcing developers from all around the world, as well as Global Skills Hub. So those are two that we work with. Emmanuel, if that's something that you'd be interested in checking out, I think for most companies in Canada, it's always easier for them to work with those organizations to source international candidates, only because they support with the immigration as well.
And it's called VanHack?
VanHack is one of them, but there are plenty of those types of organizations. So as an international applicant, I would really encourage you to go through one of those recruitment agencies versus directly to the company, only because the recruitment agencies help with both immigration and job support. Yeah.
Right. They'll know the whole immigration process and everything. The red tape.
Exactly.
And what about for Carbon60?
We do hire, internationally, but our focus is on geolocations where we have a presence. So I have an office in Romania. So that's pretty much entirely where my overseas hiring is, focused, simply because we have boots on the ground there, and we can make sure that we align with local laws and rules regarding, employment to make sure everything's on the up and up. Ours is focused on keeping the resources located there. We don't necessarily offer any, immigration paths, although we do. Several people on my team currently here in Canada are PRs. In fact, one just got his citizenship last week, which was awesome. But the skilled immigration path is not one that we're technically active in, really.
Okay. Well, that's really good to know. Hey, Romania is really cool. You have an office. I didn't know you had an office out there.
Yeah, everything looks pretty good from the pictures. So hopefully when COVID dies down a little bit more, I can head out there and meet some people face to face.
Yeah, exciting. And what about for Interior Health? Does Interior Health hire from outside of Canada?
We do hire from outside of Canada, but the applicant has to bring forward, and has a valid work permit, or being in the process of applying for their PNP or something. But the work permit must be valid, and they have to go show that they have a medical, that they passed their medical, and so there's a bit of requirements that they have to provide. But yeah, we do hire, but they do have to show that their work permit is valid to work in Canada.
That makes sense. Okay, well, good to know, and thank you, Aneni, for giving your pitch. It's great to have you on our panel today. Thank you. All right, so with the end of our pitch event, I'd just like to say a big thanks to our three pitch candidates who were brave enough to, talk about themselves in front of a pretty big audience. So next, I'd like to kind of open the floor up to our audience Q&A. So for those of you who have been putting questions here in the chat, I'm just going to go back up through the chat and go with first come, first serve. Whoever asks a question first, I will you can ask your question on screen. So I'm just going back through the chat here. Additionally, you can also raise your hand if you have a question. So in the bottom of your screen, you're going to see a little smiley face that says reactions. If you click on that, you're going to see a raised hand option. So if you have a question, you can also raise your hand that way as well. Or as Soyun is doing, raising her hand in the video. So just hang on 1 second. I'm just going to go with the questions that were asked first here in the chat. Let's see here. I see a hand raised in the side. I hope I'm pronouncing the name right. Sergey?
Yes, exactly.
Hi, welcome. I hope I said your name right.
That's fine. I heard a lot of variations regarding my name, especially from my ex from Manchester.
Oh, okay. How is it pronounced?
Sergey.
Sergey?
Yeah.
Okay.
There was. So basically, I was typing the question in the chat. I just doesn't put the correct ending at the end of the sentence. So my question is regarding the companies which do not hire internationally, but using some services like contractors to hire to do the immigration filling the papers and so on. Can you please provide the link to that company if candidates can reach them directly and apply on some site maybe? This is the first question. And second one, does anybody worked with a British Columbia Tech program, which was pilot and currently became like permanent program? I think it's called BC PNP. Does any of this representative of companies had experience with the program? Because when I contacted, and even after a successful interview, I was receiving like declined answers because companies doesn't work to struggle with provincial or government programs. Even they doesn't need to fill any kind of papers for employee, or they doesn't even need to pay any kind of fees. But anyways, they doesn't want to work with these projects from the government. That's all. Thank you.
I think this is more of an immigration question with the BC PNP Tech program.
For me, it's not about immigration. I traveled a lot and worked in different countries for different companies. Currently, I'm working in GE. But it's more about to find new opportunity and new position which can be interested. But if the work permit is an issue, sometimes these programs is the answer. That's the reason why I'm asking too.
I don't know if any of our panelists can answer your question. Does anyone know anything about the BC PNP Tech program?
I haven't heard of that program, but I just sent the company that I was referring to in the chat. So that's just one of many companies that do this. So they just provide job support for international candidates, but there are many like them.
Yeah, I don't think our panelists are involved with the BCP Tech program. But you can always, I think you can ask your questions to BCPNP. They have an email on their website that you can ask questions to, like if you're not sure why your application was not approved. Okay, and then for your first question, did anyone? That was your second question about the BCPNP Tech.
For the first question, I actually just linked it in the chat.
Oh, perfect. Okay, perfect. So the answer should be in the chat there.
Yeah, thank you.
Hopefully that kind of sheds some light on your situation. And thanks for your question. I saw you had your hand raised earlier in the video, not on the sidebar. Did you still have a question?
Yeah.
Okay, perfect.
Can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you. Yes.
Yeah. I already looked up 3 companies' job board, and I know that you guys are actively hiring a senior developer right now, but I was really wondering that, do you guys have any plan to hire a junior developer? Because it's really hard to get a chance as junior developer right now. There's a lot of companies looking for only a senior developer. So I was wondering about if you guys have a chance to.
Great question. Yeah, are your companies hiring junior talent, junior developers?
Not cold or internship program.
Yeah. Okay, a paid position.
All right.
All right. Does anyone want to take a stab at that question?
I can't say that we are actively hiring for a junior developer position. And I think the need, so just to explain the why behind that is because right now, there's been a lot of movements in the job market. And so especially with smaller companies with limited resources, there's a matter of affordability in terms of time and investment that they need to put into entry-level hires. And so that's just something that like smaller companies right now, given that we're post-pandemic and still recovering from a lot of things, it's just they can't afford to, in some ways, hire that kind of talent. But again, that's just the right now. I do see this trend changing in the next few months, probably as things are slowly getting back to normal. And so, for our company, what that means is that now, we've gone through this huge scaling period of getting some really key pieces and key members in place. And so from here, we can actually start expanding a little bit more, in areas that we need, like, more like junior support in. And so I definitely see that happening in the coming months. Actively, we're not hiring for a lot of entry level roles, but I do see that changing definitely within the next few months to the next year. Yeah.
Okay, good to know. And what about at Carbon60? Are you hiring junior talent?
My answer to that would be pretty similar. One of the challenges with the pandemic now, and our staff being so dispersed, is the need to quickly onboard talent and have them become independent very quickly in an environment where it's already a little bit tricky providing a lot of that ongoing support and side by side work and opportunities we would typically resolve to sort of train new people. But I do also see that changing, especially because I personally always like to promote from within as much as possible, and I do see individuals in intermediate or more junior roles advancing to senior roles. And when that happens, it's going to create additional opportunity at that point of entry. So over the intermediate length of time, I can definitely see if we're indicative of any larger industry trends, that there is going to be significant opportunity at the entry level space sooner as opposed to later.
Okay, good to know.
And what I can add to that as well is really, how you can use this time is, first of all, building your portfolio. So as a developer, just working on a lot of projects so that you can actually show recruiters what you've been up to. And for them, it gives them a tangible experience of your skill set. So building up your portfolio is really important, as well as, looking for mentorship opportunities, because the more you can look for those types of opportunities, you never know how those will later translate into them connecting you with the right role for you down the line. When you can connect with mentors and you're in the space that you want to grow in, even if it's not an open role at their company, but they see something that comes across that's open and on LinkedIn, they'll just immediately tag you and say, oh, you'd be a great fit for something like this. Or, and so the recruiter automatically takes your candidacy a lot more seriously because it's coming through a vetted person in their network. So I'd say really leaning into mentorship right now and building your portfolio would really help you make the best use of your time.
All right, great. And over at Interior Health, you're hiring for 3,000 positions this year. Do you have any junior tech roles coming out?
Is it junior software developer that you're looking for?
Yeah, kind of.
We do have such roles. I'm looking at the website right now. We don't have like a specific the junior developer right now, but we do have those kind of roles. So I do encourage you to check our careers website and sign up for job alerts, because that will give you like an indication of when we post those positions. But we do have those kind of roles.
Thank you.
Okay, great. I hope that answers your question, Celine. I saw another question that was in the chat directed at me from Fiona, but I don't think Fiona's here anymore. And they were just wondering if there are any opportunities like in finance and banking, but I can say no for the banking part for this panel. But are there any finance opportunities coming up in your organizations?
Yes, for us, we're actually, it's not posted yet, but we are most likely hiring for a staff accountant position very soon. Yes.
Okay. Oh, great. Good to know. And what about Carbon60?
Our finance and accounting, department has probably been one of our fastest growing units. So I haven't seen the job board in that category lately, but there's constantly hiring activity over there. So that would be a most definite yes for me.
Okay.
Same for us at Interior Health. There's a lot of opportunities in that finance, accounting areas.
Okay, great. All right. Keep the great questions coming, everybody. I've got some of my own questions while you're still thinking of some to send in. So one of my questions, hang on one second here, was about resumes. So for your companies, do you prefer to have like a resume and a cover letter submitted, or do you have online portal systems where an application's filled out? What's your preferred way of people sending you their resumes or cover letters?
We do have at Interior Health our portal that you have to go and apply through jobs.interiorhealth.ca. The system will ask you to create a profile, which it takes about 5 minutes to do that, to follow the steps. And then you upload your resume, your cover letter, and I encourage people to read the job postings, the job descriptions, because they indicate the requirements for each position. So for instance, if the position indicates that the position requires a 50 words per minute typing test, you need to upload that before we can consider you as a formal applicant. From there, we review the applications and we shortlist our applicants and send them to the hiring manager. The hiring manager connects with you and follows up and invites you for an interview if you're shortlisted. And then after the interview, a verbal offer it's made, and then a formal offer letter is sent to the applicants once the applicant has accepted the position.
Oh, awesome. Great. That's good to know. And what about its social nature? What do you prefer?
We also have an online portal. So it basically asks you a few questions. So questions like, why do you want to join the team at Social Nature? And just a few more culture fit type questions. And then at the very end, you have the option, actually, we do require you to upload your resume, and then you have the option of uploading a cover letter. And we do prefer everyone send their information through that portal, only because it allows us to treat all candidates equally. And so from a diversity and equity perspective as well, it works better within our process to have everyone in the system and treated the exact same versus, getting just a random resume and like putting it in the system. So portal is always the way to go.
Okay. And same at Carbon60?
We are an old-fashioned tech company. We still process resumes via email, and I still like reading resumes. I don't like some of these candidate tracking systems out there that just reduce the whole process to keyword, management and this or that. I think that there's a lot that gets lost in translation with talent when we trust systems to automate the process. And I'm saying that now, if you talk to me in 10 years and I'm at a place or with Carbon60 and we're getting 3,000 applications every day, I'd probably be like, where's my automated system? But right now, I have a guilty pleasure of actually reading, resumes and getting a sense of the people. It's not just what's on paper. It's trying to get a sense of those intangibles, then frame the conversations. So having a well-structured, detailed resume for us is definitely a plus. Cover letters, not necessarily something that we typically go for. It's not always a question of experience. There was a question directed at me in the chat earlier from someone over here who was a little bit concerned they didn't have the 5 years of experience required for one of our job postings. I would still apply because we do actually read the resumes, and if we see indications that someone has a good mix of skills and experience and tells us a story in the resume, really says like, hey, I'm inquisitive, I'm a problem solver, I go above and beyond, here are some things that I've been able to accomplish, that in some ways can count even more than, yeah, hey, I have 5 years experience, or God forbid, one of those places where it's like, hey, this technology came out last year. We will only be accepting, resumes from people who have 10 years experience in it and have also published a peer-reviewed, journal entry describing it. No, please, please no.
Okay, yeah, that's a question I often hear from job candidates. Do I need a cover letter? Are cover letters still relevant? Does anybody read my cover letter? Since a lot of work tends to go into cover letters. So for Carbon60, cover letter is not so important, but for social nature and interior health, is anyone reading cover letters? Do you find them important, or is the resume the most important piece?
We do review them. I think for administrative positions, especially, it's very important to highlight some of your skills. And yes, some of the managers do require a cover letter. Not all the positions, but there's some formal positions like in human resources or like I say, administrative assistant positions or executive assistant positions. It is important to have a cover letter attached.
Okay. And for tech roles, are portfolios also important in an application?
Yeah, absolutely. So if we're hiring for a more technical role, we'll always ask for them to link us to their portfolios, websites. And in regards to cover letters, if they're sent in, we'll of course review them and read them, but we do leave them as optional in case, people want to send them or not. Yeah.
Okay, great. Okay, I've got some other questions for you coming to me in the chat here. One question is, what are some recent examples of how your companies have gotten the entire team together in this world of remote working? So that was from, they've left now. So recent examples of how your companies have gotten the entire team together in this world of remote working. Have you done any activities that have brought the team together, either virtually or maybe even in person during the last 2 years?
We celebrate our Christmas parties through Zoom.
Okay.
And it's super fun. Like we do scavenger hunts. We do different people submit videos of them, doing funny stuff. We do contests of different things. It's actually a lot of fun, and everyone is allowed to have a drink in their hands if they choose to, or have some food, like just pretending that you're at a party. And also we encourage people to dress up and show their sweaters and stuff like that. So yeah, it was kind of cool, actually.
Oh, that sounds like a lot of fun. Everyone got dressed up.
Yeah.
Wonderful. And what about over at Social Nature? What are some events that you've done in the last 2 years with your team?
Yeah, there's a lot that we've done, also quite similar. Scavenger hunt, we've definitely done that. We do a lot of meetings where we do like breakout rooms and just asking questions from smaller groups. Also for our holiday party last year, we did like a cocktail making party. So we sent kits to everyone's homes. That was a lot of fun. And yeah, another way that we've kind of managed how we in general work together is that we've recently established something called collaboration hours. So, you've got normal working hours and that's for you, but then our collaboration hours is when we've all committed to across all time zones that those are the times that work for everyone to meet together and to plan meetings in that window. So I think that's something that's proven really helpful for us so far.
Yeah, that sounds like a great idea. That's really cool. And what about it over at Carbon60?
We've done the whole Zoom holiday parties also. And for one of our past ones, we actually hired a MC, party planner, video DJ type person to sort of keep things, moving, do games, and keep it fun and interesting and engaging. So it was a lot more than just let's sit everyone in front of a camera, grab a drink, and just chat. There was some, structure and some games, and it was a little bit more professional with some, production values to it. So it was kind of really exciting. They sent Uber Eats gift cards to everyone. We could all get our favorite cuisine, and I became a fan of one of our local Southeast Asian, restaurants, which has been a staple at our dinner table ever since. We've had more frequent, company-wide, meetings over the Zoom platform. Not as fun as the holiday stuff, so looking forward for our next big holiday. And we've done some independent fun and games here or there. I believe we had a step challenge recently, which encouraged everybody to get out, get active, upload their steps to our tracking spreadsheets, and winning individuals and teams, I think, got Apple Watches out of it. So it was kind of a little bit of encouragement to burn some calories that I failed miserably at.
Oh, well, that sounds like some great initiatives there, great events. I've got one more question from the person who left. They were wondering about this kind of transition. I mean, I know we're not quite at the end of the pandemic. Maybe we are, maybe we're not. It's hard to say right now. But how do we merge the two roles of workers? We have remote workers and we have in person, and how do we merge these two groups of workers in this new world? This is one of the questions coming from our audience members. Any thoughts on that?
Going back to that initiative that we brought about, the collaboration hours, I think really just respecting people's time zones and just remembering where they might be at their day. I think that's really one of the ways that we've tried to really mold our team together and really just creating more space for commonality in terms of, again, like let's figure out what time we can share together, what space we can share together. And that's been really pivotal for us. And that experience of bringing a remote friendly team working together is one.
Okay. And what about at Carbon60?
As we were already growing through mergers and acquisitions, especially, this was sort of the perfect opportunity to focus on our operating procedures and how we worked to make things as standardized and efficient as possible, which for us allows us to be anywhere at any time and still produce the same type of work. To better hand off between time zones, locales, and individuals, and just ensure that we're adhering to the same playbooks and the same standards, because a lot of it has indeed, as Tina said, just been about sort of respecting individual time and place. And moving forward, I think that trend's going to really continue. It's not going to be as much thinking of work as a space and time that's fixed. Its work is going to be a end product, an output, and how an individual chooses to achieve that output is going to be up to them. So we're just basically creating a standard playing field internally for people to do that, and from where and when they contribute to that is going to be more up to them. And we're just ensuring that we're adequately capturing, requirements at the start and then what the end product looks like. So it's all about time and place. My, vacation last week ran long due to a canceled flight. So I spent 2 or 3 days working from a beach in, Hawaii, and even, interviewed someone while dipping my feet into the ocean. So it's, you can work anywhere. It's just, we do as, employers, need to make that equitable for everybody, but also make sure people feel pressured not to work when it's not appropriate for them. I did what I did when I was on holiday simply because my schedule changed, and I still had commitments to make. So I found a place that was comfortable for me to still contribute to that. I would never encourage anyone to work on vacation. Just it's ultimately what I was comfortable with, and those contributions were appreciated but not expected.
That's a really interesting take on the future of how we might view work one day as being an end product. I really liked your answer. All right, I see another question coming in
It is
from
hard goals, but with a soft path to it.
I like that. Yeah. Okay, Chris has just asked a question to me in the chat. Chris, do you want to come on screen and ask your question? Is Chris still here? Okay, if not, I'll just ask Chris's question. Chris asks, what metrics do you all have in place at home, I guess, for workers compared to at office?
I guess I'll go ahead and lead with that. For us, it's exactly the same. With my team, we're a technical operations oriented team. So it's all about the customer service and the customer experience. The metrics that we track are when requests come into our ticketing and support system. We want to know our initial response time to the customer's query. And at the end, whether or not we adhered to our service level objectives in terms of how quickly we resolved everything and made sure that we adhered to our contracts. So that's the same no matter where anyone is. And that's why this has been easy for us to sort of transition to this new reality, because the work isn't really dependent on a physical space or a specific time outside of total time to resolution.
Yeah, I'd have to agree with Justin. Ours are pretty much the exact same if you're in Vancouver or not. Yeah. So at first I didn't understand the question fully, but then after Justin explained his answer, I was like, yeah, they're the exact same for us too.
Okay, good to know. And what about interior health? Has what's in place for home workers compared to people at the office?
Well, our industry is so big, and our workforce, it's divided, right? Like there's some jobs that cannot be from home because they have to give direct care to patients. So those nurses, healthcare assistants, doctors, they have to be on site regardless of what But for us working remotely, like there's policies established already. So there's a lot of the workforce that works from home, and it works really well because everyone has, like I say, established policies and guidelines that we have to follow through.
Okay, great. Okay, that's good to know. All right, let's take any last questions from our audience. If anyone has a last question, you feel free to raise your hand. We'll start taking last questions now before we start to wrap up. If we have no last questions, no worries. I will start to wrap up this panel and let Justin, Maria, and Tina add any last remarks or words of advice to our audience today. So maybe we'll start with Maria. If you have any last remarks or words of wisdom that you want to share, words of advice that you want to share with our audience members, feel free. The floor is yours.
Thank you. No, thanks everyone for attending. any word of advice, it's, just be yourself, practice when you go to an interview, prepare a good resume. The key to a good interview is practice, practice, practice. But be yourself, sell your skills properly, and there's lots of opportunities for job opportunities, and there's lots of assistance that you can find through different departments such as BC Jobs, on how to create proper resumes, cover letters, and prepare for interviews. So there's lots of help out there. So use it to your advantage.
Great. Great words of wisdom. Thank you so much, Maria. And over to Tina, if you have any last remarks that you want to share with our audience today.
Yeah, first off, Chelsea, thanks for hosting, and thanks to our audience for coming for the event. I would say if you see someone who's in the role that you want to be in one day, book a coffee chat with them. Go, you could do like a virtual coffee chat now in this new world of ours. So yeah, just booking little virtual coffee chats with people. You ask them questions. You also get a feel for what sort of skills they needed to build before getting to that position, or what challenges they might have come across while in that journey. And so I would say, in part of that gathering knowledge journey is really just talking to the people who are in the position that you want to eventually be in. So I think that's something that I've learned, and I always tell all of our candidates as well.
Love your answer. Perfect. And over to Justin, if you have any parting words of advice that you want to share with our audience today.
From my end, it would be, we've said it a lot of times, and it's always just important to keep in mind, just be yourself. When we're looking at candidates, we just really want to know that person. That's, if we're hiring people to be people, not to be robots or to just, do a task, repetitively. We hire people for their, creativity, for their, problem solving. So don't be shy to show that aspect of yourself in your body of work, in your, resume. Definitely do not forget the value of personal, connections. Some of our best hires have come on, referrals or, introductions. So, developing a professional network of, people who you can bounce ideas off of, get, introductions to, will bring in value far beyond any time that you invest in it. Absolutely. It's all about the personal, connections. And never, just as part of being, yourself, just also know what your, limits are. Don't oversell yourself. That can almost be the most dangerous thing for a candidate, especially when something advances to an interview stage. Always be honest with what you've done, how far you've taken it. And don't be shy about being self-critical or, introspective, and sharing what you've learned, or times where maybe you haven't quite succeeded at what you set out to do, but that narrative always should be framed in terms of what did you learn from it and how did that make you a better person?
Wonderful. I couldn't agree more with you, Justin, about the networking part. Networking is so important for finding work these days, and don't underestimate the power of LinkedIn. LinkedIn is a great resource to network with employers, even with people at other companies. You can get a taste of what it's like working there. So yes, I completely agree. Networking is super, super important. All right. Well, Tina, Maria, and Justin, it was an absolute pleasure to have you all on our panel today. And thank you so much for taking the time out of your busy schedules. to join us. And if anyone is looking for work or new opportunities, check out Interior Health, Carbon60, and Social Nature. Check out their hiring pages. I think some links are here in the chat today. And don't forget to join us at the end of this month on April 26th for our next guest speaker panel with Electronic Arts, Blackboard Interactive, and LCB Studios. This spring, we will be running the series every 3 weeks, so you'll get to meet speakers from various industries a little more frequently. And lastly, you can always shoot me an email with any questions to events@BCJobs.ca. And always happy to answer your questions and put you in the right direction. So thank you all so much for joining today, and we'll see you next time.
Thank you very much, everybody. This has been very fun.
Awesome. Well, have a great week, everybody, and take care.